Okay, for the second round, we would like to talk about what is the most important part of your study and your research. I would like to mention you guys to talk about like the collaboration with the faculty members, your peers, field trips and lab works. So please specify with using some examples. So I would like to start from Yi.
Okay. And I have to say that my supervisor's guidance, lab works, and also collaborative research activities across labs are really important parts to my study and research. So firstly, I think my supervisor really inspired me a lot. And for example, he illustrated the whole process of conducting research from generating ideas and also to the publication art. So follow your heart is the principle that he passed on to me. I think this really inspired a lot, and he also offered generous instructions to me. And moreover, I think the lab works are really important to me because we always share good journals with one another and we collaborate with each other's work in our lab. And last but not least, I think the collaborative research activities across labs is really important to me because with sport management major student, we have an English seminar each week, and we always communicate with each other and interact with professors in this seminar. So I always gain valuable instructions from Professor Matsuoka, Donna-sensei, Yamashita-sensei, and Keita-sensei. And I also have good suggestions from Matsuoka-sensei's students like Tingyu. And I think that's the most important parts of my study. Thank you.
Thank you, Yi. Tingyu? Could you also explain about your collaborations?
Sure. Okay, for me, the field trip is really important to my research. Last summer, I participated in the Tokyo Olympic Games with Yi. Yeah. And from that time, I started to have a strong interest in the social impact of sport mag events. After that, I read a lot of literature reviews, and I talked this topic with my professor Matsuoka sensei. He supported me a lot and gave me many helps. And also in our English seminar Yi mentioned before, we will have classes with Sato sensei's lab. We will give our presentations regularly, and other professors like Sato sensei, Donna sensei, Yamashita sensei, and Keita sensei will also give us some feedbacks, advice, and recommend us some articles, which really helps me a lot in my research. So I think the collaboration with faculty is also important to me and my research.
So for Yi and Tingyu, you two are from sport management course, and you mentioned about the English seminar, which is a collaboration with Sato sensei and also Matsuoka sensei's lab. So it's in once a week, right?
Usually once a week.
Usually once a week, okay.
Yes.
So what's the English seminar mainly about? Is it talking about your research and those kind of things?
If our second master student, we will have a presentation almost 3 weeks. Well, 3 weeks, yeah.
Okay.
And we will discuss our progress of our research, and they will give us some feedbacks and advice.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So Milos, could you introduce a little bit about your collaboration with faculty and peers, and if you have any lab works that you could share?
Well, I mean, I would definitely mention my Kanosuke sensei. He's one of the main reasons why I even applied and for the sports neuroscience. Having a chance to be working side by side and being mentored by one of the, let's say, world leading experts in the field of sports neuroscience is such a privilege, and it was our cooperation altogether was just perfect match, and I would just say that I was very grateful and very lucky to have my sensei.
So do you mainly have like meetings with him, like how many times a week? Or
Well, my situation is pretty delicate because I live in Yokohama, and my campus is in Tokorozawa, so it's pretty far. And with all the COVID situation, actually, we have decided for me not to spend that much time in the campus, coming all the time. But actually, we had a really great communication and support online during these hard times. And it actually depends on the questions and the things that we have to work together on. And so based on our agreement, we would have certain communication during a week, on a weekly basis. So it was actually pretty great handle, the whole situation. Difficult.
so in your PhD course, you were just mainly focusing on your own research, or did you have any like lab works or those kind of things?
It was mainly my research because I'm a fully worked person, so I worked full time, and I work in as I say in Yokohama, so it's a pretty long distance for me to travel all the time. So with agreement with Professor Sensei, we mainly focused on my research and my ideas, and that's what I say. I'm very grateful because my ideas were pretty much specific and delicate, and his understanding and his support was crucial for me to be able to publish things and eventually graduate this year.
Okay, thank you. So Pula, could you share your stories about the collaborations with your faculties and like your lab works?
Yeah. So actually for me, I'm very grateful and thankful for Professor Miyashita as well, because in our lab we have like good connections and collaborations with international universities as well as like the Japanese companies. So we get to do collaboration studies with them as well. And for me, like we don't only help or learn about our own studies, we help each other's studies as well. So we get to learn more than just our own research field. And we also have like weekly lab meetings, which is quite useful because everyone will like weekly someone will present something, and then we can actually learn more outside of our like own interest. And for our lab, it's quite an honor that we are able to like recruit participants to come and do the experiments during like this tough COVID times. And I think that's very like something difficult to do during like for other labs during this time. Also, as a member in the Tokorozawa campus, we sometimes get recruited to be participants for other labs as well. So for example, I was recruited for this lab's PhD research as well. And it was completely different from like exercise and physiology. So I got to learn about like a little bit about neuroscience and other things like that.
Okay. Yeah. So Pula, you're from Miyashita Sensei's lab, and I was quite interested that you guys help each other's studies, and because of that, you expand your knowledge. So what kind of new things did you learn from other people's research?
I learned about like, for example, I only focus on diabetes and glucose, but for other research, I focus on appetite or like lipids in the body as well. So I get to learn about other hormones that regulate appetite, or like how to control your appetite or not like overeating something when you're like exercising or as an athlete.
Okay, so and also you mentioned that you have a weekly lab meetings.
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure that there's a couple of students who cannot still enter Japan. Is that meeting also held like online and hybrid style, and you guys could also communicate with the other students who are in outside of Japan too?
Yeah, actually I think communication during this period is very difficult. And for our lab meetings, like if we are in Japan, we go to the lab and be there, but for students who cannot come yet, we'll be online on Zoom. but we are able to see each other's face because they're projected on screen and etc.
Okay. So I think that's a good experience for you guys to meet new people and having new friends and peers and those kind of things.
Yes.
Okay, so do you all like have any questions to each others or something like that? Any comments? Even from you? From you, Sensei?
How many students in each of your lab? Most of them are Japanese students, or they come from many countries? I noticed Miros want to ask something to three of them.
Oh yes. So I was wondering how many members your lab has, and how many of those members are international students.
How about you?
Start from the end.
I'm from Matsuoka Sensei's lab, and we have about 13 students, English program students, and 4 are PhD students. The other are all master's students, and most of them are come from China. Yeah.
For my lab, in Professor Miyashita's lab, we have around 14 students right now, and 8 are international. However, 3 cannot come yet because of the restriction in entry. So we just meet them online.
Yes. And for my lab, Professor Sato's lab, we have 5 international students in total, and 1 student is from Korea, and others are from China. So we have 1 PhD student, 1 master's, 2 student, and 2 first-year student. Yes.
Okay, so do you guys have any other questions for each, or do you Sensei, or do you maybe?
Actually, I have a
Yes.
small question. Because sports management and exercise, like sports exercise, are in different campus. So, like, do you know any of our Chinese students in our lab?
I think maybe not from your lab, but from the other teacher's lab, we have some alumni from my graduate school, undergraduate school. So I know 1 student from Takurozawa campus.
Oh.
Yes. And sometimes we hang out together. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so do you guys have any colleagues from Europe?
Probably from Europe.
From Europe.
I mean, I'm a colleague now, but I mean, your lab.
Yeah, in our lab, a senior is come from Loughborough University. Yeah, he completed his undergraduate and graduates in UK, and now in our lab. Yeah.
For my lab, no one's from Europe. Just there's 1 Peru guy, but Professor Miyashita also came from Loughborough University.
For my lab, we don't have European students, but we have some interactions with students who study in British, and we have conference sometimes to share our topics. Yes.
And I understood you graduate masters in UK.
Undergraduate.
Undergrad, sorry. So do you have any colleagues that have undergrad from Europe, or they have a master's? They graduated master's studies in Europe?
I have 1 PhD student right now. He also graduated master's from Europe, from the UK.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to end the second round session, and thank you.